Hi HipKit friends, I'm excited to be here with you today to share a new mixed media layout for Mixed Media Monday. I love the June kits and I had so much fun using this chevron patterned paper on this layout today. So I started by cutting out a couple of rows of the zigzag lines or the chevron pattern, and I picked the 2 rows for the main part of the layout. I picked the 2 rows that I had full pieces of, like all the way across and all the way point to point. And then I did cut a few little pieces from the leftovers so that I could add a couple of little rows that were a little more colorful. So in the chevron pattern, there were a couple of little pieces that had more brown in them, and I wasn't going to be putting any brown in the layout, so I wanted to pull out some of those more aqua colors and cover those browner pieces up. So that's what I'm doing here. And you can see I just kind of trimmed off a couple of rows, and I'm going to glue them down, and then in the end you can't even tell. I just trimmed them to match the pattern that was already there and covered up those colors. There we go. So I am going to trim off all of the white, and then I'm going to use my Tim Holtz distressing tool to distress those edges. I also use my pointy scissors to get into the deepest parts of those V shapes where you can't really get the distressing tool. So I went ahead and used my scissors for that part. And then I laid them down on my background piece. I'm using a white mixed media cardstock for my background. And I just laid them down where I know that they're going to go and trace them with a pencil so that I know where I need to put my mixed media on the background. And then I am using a whole bunch of colors from past color kits on this layout. And if you watched my mood board layout earlier this week, or I guess last week, I'm using many of the same colors because these are going to go together in my scrapbook. So this page and that mood board page. So I'm using coordinating colors for that. So I started with the pink is Bahama Mama and Naughty and Nice. And all of these are Shimmers Paints colors from past HipKit color kits. So here I had put the pencil marks so that I knew where those zigzag patterns were going to be. And then I'm just taking that color and then going a little past the line. So I'm going a little bit further than I know the pattern paper is going to go, so that I know that some of this is going to, poke out from behind. You'll be able to see on top and bottom. So I went just a little bit taller than that pattern paper is going to be. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the orange colors, I used Cantaloupe. That's from a past color kit. The only color that I used on the whole layout that's not from a past color kit, and it was just from my stash, is I added in a little Carrot Top. That's an orange color, so I mixed that with the Cantaloupe just to make it a little bit more vivid. The yellow is Sunny. The green that aqua green is Slow Ocean. And then the blue, that first color that I'm putting down right now, is Ride the Tide. And then this darker blue that I'm adding is La Peace Dance. So I'm just going to add some splatters of that. And really, I added the first color on each of these. I added the first color just kind of like with my paintbrush, and you could see some of the paint strokes and those kinds of things. So by adding the splatters while it's wet, that kind of helps your mixed media to look less perfect or less planned. And it takes away some of those brush strokes. Then this last color that I'm adding is Beats Me. So that is a Shimmers Paints that leans purple. It is kind of a pinky purple, but it looks really good with the purples that are in the patterned paper this month. And then this is a Catherine Pooler ink Serenade from a past color kit. It's a little bit bluer purple, and so I just kind of used that to splatter some extra colors on. And now I'm taking my photo. So I put that off to dry. So I'm going to let that dry for a little while. And now I'm taking I have 2 photos, still working through my Jamaica trip. I'm almost done. But here I am continuing a little bit more. And so what I did, this is all June kits that I'm using for this layout. So all of the embellishments and things that you'll be seeing are from the June kits this year, and I pulled out patterned paper from the cardstock kit and the main kit. So most of the patterned paper is from the main kit, but that solid pink that you see right there, that's from the cardstock kit. So what I did is I mimicked the colors on my background. So I went pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So I'm doing the same thing with my patterned papers. So my first photo, I'm backing with 3 layers of patterned paper, pink, orange, and yellow. I distressed the edges of those and then just kind of made a rough little stack of patterned paper there to back my photo. And then my second photo is going to be green, blue, and purple. So I started with green, then I used that kind of as a guide for how I wanted my blue to go, what the size, I made it just a little bit bigger, distressed the edges of all of those. And then my purple is going to be a little bit bigger still. And I did initially put them together and put a staple in the middle, but I do end up going and taking the staple out. So I did offset the middle mat. So the picture is centered on like that pink mat, and then the orange is kind of askew in the stack. It's kind of cattywampus. I don't know how to say, it's like, it's not perfect. It's not squared. And then the yellow is square with the pink. So there's just kind of the middle layer of patterned paper is kind of offset. So I took the staple out of the middle of that because my photo was warping a little bit in the center, like you could see where the staple was. So I just took that out and then added some adhesive to those layers. Not a whole lot. I wanted to still be able to bend up all of the edges and things, but I didn't want that staple being able to be seen behind my photos. So there's how it's going to look. I'm just trimming it a little bit to make sure they're similar in size. And then trying to get the perfect offset layer. I wanted it to kind of look a certain way. So there's my 2 mats. And I love how all those colors look on top of that patterned paper. And then the chipboard frame and the word Explorer are all pulled out of the chipboard set that was in the, I think it was in the embellishment kit. And same thing with that chipboard phrase. It says, make memories wherever you go. And I love that little piece. So I used a lot of things out of that chipboard set for this layout. Then I'm also going to do some stamping. So my page, my background page has had time to sit off and dry. So I'm going to take everything off and go ahead and adhere down those zigzags. And as you can see, I did use my pencil marks to make sure that I had them lined up where I wanted them to go. And then as you can see, that mixed media pokes out the top, like I said it would, and the bottom and through the middle. So you can see it in all those places. But it's not super overwhelming because most of it is covered up by the pattern paper. So my photos, I'm going to go ahead and pop up on craft foam. And then that chipboard frame I'm going to have looking like it's behind the photo, but I did trim off the pieces that are back there and just kind of have the parts that are showing. And I used my T-square ruler to make sure it's straight. And then I'll line up the bottom photo with the top photo. So those are kind of like in a straight line there. And same thing with the chipboard frame down there that I'm going to use it to kind of offset. And you can see that I did use those chipboard frames on opposite corners, and that's just to give the layout some balance. And I used pink on that top set and then the kind of aqua green on the bottom set so that it coordinates with the colors that are in that matte stack. The chipboard arrow with the flowers and the feathers, I went ahead and put that down, and I did pop that up on some craft foam, and same thing with the word Explorer. Adding a touch of glue with that craft foam. Then I'm just kind of getting everything set up where I know I want it to go. And I do have everything popped up on layers. I love a layout to have lots of good dimension. And then those are the little buttons that I'm adding. I did add some thread to the center, or embroidery thread. And then I took the stamp set that was in the Project Life kit and I stamped down below the photo. That stamp, it's very tiny words. I love that stamp. It says explore more, worry less. So I stamped it twice down there. And then I'm also stamping a little teeny tiny globe. I stamped that in a couple of places. And then the stamp up top that I just did says wild and free. And I'm gonna do another one right above that. I did kind of an oval outline stamp. And then in the center of that, I stamped destination. And I did just use black ink from my stash. And then I'm gonna do two little I think this is little arrows that I'm gonna stamp on the top. Yeah. So it's kind of pointing at those stamped phrases. Did it on the top and the bottom. And then this sticker pack, these are cardstock stickers that came in a set of 6 different sheets. I'm gonna take those little phrases. So the one that I put on the photo right above that chipboard phrase says happiness. And the one that I'm putting right now says faraway places. Lots of great travel words. And then I added destination next to wild and free, so wild and free destination. And then above that it says happy and free. And then I'm gonna add another little sticker, little mounting piece, and then the sticker in the middle of it that I added says adventure. Down below, I'm gonna add kind of that aqua frame. And in the middle of that, I added little phrase stickers that say so very happy. So lots of words that coordinate with my photos. Lots of phrases that go along with what we were doing. And I did try to add these clear or colorful acetate pieces, but they didn't really work. So I tried them, but I don't end up adding those to the layout. Tried them in several different places. So now what I'm doing is just pulling out some sequins, and I am going to add some hand stitching all through the patterned paper zigzags. So I'm going to go ahead and poke some holes, and then my sequins that I'm adding, sequins and thread, will coordinate with the section that they're on. So right now I'm poking holes in that pink section, so I'm going to use pink thread and pink sequins. And all of those are from my stash. They're all Spiegel Mom, from Spiegel Mom sequins. Lots of pretty shiny sequins in each set, and I happened to have a set in each color in my stash, so that was perfect. So I just do a pretty simple stitch, and I added a sequin each time I pulled my thread through and added. So I did the pink, and then the green, the blue, and the purple, because the yellow and orange sections were all covered up, so I didn't add any back there. But there you can see some close-ups, and I thought I was finished, but then I end up going back and adding some gold acrylic paint that was in the color kit for the June kit. So in the June color kit, we got some fabulous gold acrylic paint here. So I am going to put a little dollop of that, add some water, and then I'm going to splatter that on the layout on the top and the bottom. Cover up my photos first. And that just gives some beautiful gold shimmer. And then there's the finished layout. And some close-up photos. I hope you enjoyed the process. If you have any questions about anything that I did, go ahead and pop them down below. You can give the video a like and comment if you want to, and then tap the bell for notifications. We appreciate you watching. Bye, guys.